Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins and today is Marvelous Monday. We have a beautiful day here in Connecticut. It is sunny and spring-like. There's all sorts of activity going on with the birds and the buds, and lots of flowers have suddenly put on exponential growth. And I'm sure that in no time flat I'm going to start seeing dandelions. So I thought we would use dandelions today as our subject. The stamp set I'm using is called Garden Wishes, and it features some very nice pictures of dandelions. It's got a bumblebee and it's got some nice sentiments here. And as you know, this is Dandelion Cottage, so dandelions have a special place in my heart. I thought what I would do is use the watercolor pencils because of my workshop coming up for the month of April is nature studies, and I'm going to be using the watercolor pencils quite a bit. Let me just check to make sure we're on here. There we go. And so this month we're going to be making nature journals. And in those nature journals we're going to be using watercolor pencils. So I have a selection of watercolor pencils here. I've got some yellows and some greens. And I also have a blender pen. I've got a standard envelope and note card, and this measures 4.5 by 5.5. I've got a colored mat here, and this is Pear Pizzazz, and I've got a piece of Very Vanilla that I'm going to be using for my artwork. And if you're interested in getting any of these supplies, I will be posting my online store below with everything that I'm using today, and you just click on there, it'll take you right over and you can select what you like. So to begin with, I've got my stamp mounted up here, and I've got a couple of inks. I've got So Saffron and Old Olive. And I'm going to get out my stamping pad, and this is just a foam pad that I can put my paper on, and it allows me to get a nicer imprint with my stamps. And I'm going to begin by just putting the flower heads in the So Saffron. So just the top part of the stamp. And then I'm taking the Old Olive and I'm just adding ink to the leaves. I'm going to get that centered on my, actually I'm going to raise it up a little bit because I want to put a sentiment. So here we go. And I think it would be fun to add the little bumblebee as well. So for that I'm going to be using, I'll use Sahara Sand. There we go. All right, so there is my stamping done. And let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and put my sentiment on now so I don't have to do it later. So So I'm just going to put that down towards the lower left. There we go. So there's my stamping, and I'm just now going to color that in. And this is such a quick and easy way to make a card that even if you don't have a lot of time but you just want to put something together for somebody very quickly, this is a great way to do that. So I'm just adding some yellow to my blossoms. And I'm just kind of going in little circular motions. I'll add a little bit of yellow to my bumblebee. And I'll add some of the pumpkin pie. And I'll just indicate some of those petals, the center of the flower. And I'm just going a little bit heavier in some of the shadow areas. If you're interested in learning how to shade form, you may want to stay tuned for my beginning watercolor classes starting up in May. It's a 6-week course, and I go over shading, color, value, perspective, design, everything. And so if you're not sure of your drawing skills and you'd like to learn more about that, or maybe you've already been drawing but you'd like to add to your knowledge, you might want to look into beginning watercolor starting in March. And by the way, all of these classes that I'm mentioning are listed in my newsletter Notes, which comes out on the 1st of each month. And there's still time to subscribe for this month. And you can see what the classes are, what materials you might want to pick up, and what's coming up. So please subscribe to Notes at DandelionCottageDesign.com, and I'd be happy to get you on the list, and I'll send you out this month's edition because classes are still open until the 9th. You can register up until the 9th, and after that registration closes. But I will be adding some additional classes, and this month, by the way, don't forget, this is the Creative Coop Challenge month. So we've been talking about this for quite a while now. And for those of you who have the Hey Chick and the Hey Birthday Chick bundles, and you're interested in making a 3D project, we're going to be having a challenge. And all of the information will be listed in a special email that I'll be sending out shortly. So for that, just go ahead and subscribe to Notes, and you'll be on that list as well. Alright, so I'm liking the way this looks pretty well. I'm just going to add a little more color in a few of these areas. And now I'm going to take my blender pen. So the blender pen, let me zoom you in so you can get a better look at this. The blender pen acts like a a moistening agent, but it's not going to cause your cardstock to lift and pill the way water would. If you're working on watercolor paper, it doesn't matter, but the blender pen is perfect for using on papers that are not designed to accept watercolor and water. And what this does, it just takes those strokes and it helps to blend them together to give it a really beautiful look. So there are my flowers. Now I'm just going to work on my stems and my leaves a little bit. There we go. And you can also use it, so here's my old olive. This is one of the older ink pads. So I'm just going to press the pad to put some of the color on the lid. You can also use the blender pen to lift up that color and transfer it onto your artwork, and now the blender pen acts as a marker. So I can get into some of these little spaces and just add a little more detail. There we go. Alright, so just as quickly as that, you've got a beautiful little hand-painted card. And to clean your blender pen, you just take a piece of scrap paper and just give it a couple of wipes, and now your blender pen can be used for any other color you like. Okay, so there is my dandelion and my bumblebee. And now all I have to do is adhere it to my mat. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue, a little bit of glue around the edges. And one last thing, I almost forgot, is I want to decorate the flap of my envelope. So I'm going to get my bumblebee back out again. There we go. Now how sweet is that? This is a wonderful card to send somebody or to deliver to the people at the bank or the store or at the post office. Just a really nice way to say thank you. And I want to thank you all very much for joining me today for Marvelous Monday, and I hope that your Monday is absolutely marvelous and that you're enjoying such beautiful weather as we have here, and you get outside and you look for those dandelions. So thank you very much. Stay well, stay creative, and I will see you next time on Watercolor Wednesday right here at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And there's probably going to be some flowers ready to paint. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you then.